Hey guys, I wanted to show you my little Yzma-inspired card. I thought I saw this bottle, and while I know it's not the traditional iconic bottle that they use in Emperor's New Groove, I thought it just the color made me think of Emperor's New Groove. And I'm always making cards inspired by Disney stuff. I'll see things and my brain will automatically go to, oh, that reminds me of X. And so then I'll make a card based on that. So that's what I did here, is I made this little llama card. I love the little llamas. Oh, I'm just in love with these little llamas. All right, well, thanks so much, and thanks for tuning in. Oh, my ears today are my Haunted Mansion ears. I think I wore them in a video the other day. I just love these ears. And they're just so perfect. I can't think of anything more perfect than these ears, especially with the safety pins. I don't know, the 80s kid in me, anyway. All right, well, have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Hey guys, I wanted to show you my Yzma-inspired card. This is the first draft I have. I'm gonna change it up a little for the draft I'm gonna show you now, and then we can decide which one's better. So what we're gonna need is these embellishments, this twine. This is just like a baker's twine that was retired from several years ago from Stampin' Up. It doesn't even have a name. I think it came in a pack. This is the Petunia Pop ribbon. And then here we have, I don't know if you guys remember from the other day, but we had used for this pin project, we had used some of the paper for the pins. Gosh, this is still so cute. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Anyway, one day I'll get mini. Anyway, so this paper came with all these die cuts of various types. So you can see there's like a hippo as a mummy, there's a broom, there's like a little toucan down here. There's actually another card that I made, it's on my YouTube, that, with the fairy bear, which I just thought was cute. All these little candy corns, there's all these little die cuts inside. And so I went ahead and I took it. They were on a big piece of paper here, but they kept falling because they're so good. They kept kind of like falling, and I didn't want to lose any of them, and I didn't want them to rip or tear. So I went ahead and just put them inside a little envelope, and now I'm putting them in the bag. That way it's handy and easy to get to. So let's go ahead and get out. I think I need 2 pieces. There we go. Of white. Maybe 3. Okay, and then we need a black marker, and this is just some trimmed off piece of the paper that we were using. So the paper that I decided to use today was the back side of that paper, this paper, the one that we used with the pins. It had the seam all across the top, so I used let's see, this piece is gonna match up, yeah. So like this piece was next to it. There was the frame, there was the doorway, and there was, I think, a nighttime scene, like a tree or something next to it on the other side. So I'm using this piece, but I just want to use this Petunia Pop side, this purple side. So we're going to set all that aside for a second. And we're just going to use our basic cardstock here, and that's for my other project. I do a reel and a long form. I have to do like several in order to get it all done just right. And then the die that we're using, so this was actually cut from one of the sheets. It had all these tags on it. Oh, and this was another die cut that we needed from that envelope. And here's another piece that we needed. I think I need to trim it down. But so we needed all these little pieces. This die cut was already cut. This was on a bigger piece of paper, and it had other tags on it. So I had to cut this. You can see like part of it's off. And then, so I got to trim off. I think I might trim this off just a tiny bit because it looks a little bit wider. And then to make our little tag, But first, we need to do a little stamping. So I'm looking for, here it is. I was gonna say I had the stamp set. So this is a Yzma-inspired card, and I happen to have this birthday fiesta stamp set. This is from, oh gosh, so long ago. It's from a long time ago. This is from like 2017, maybe 2015. This is quite old. So I'm using the llama from that because it's so stinking cute. And then I'm using, I didn't use a sentiment on this. I just wanted to create something fun using the llama. So I think what I'm gonna do, I want to kind of try out, part of me wants to try out and see, like, would the berry burst be okay on this? I think I'm going to do that because I don't think I want to use black. So instead of using petunia, oops, I'm going to knock my little, hold on a second, my cord is a little unwieldy over here. It's going to knock over all my stuff. There we go. I think I'll move it over here. I don't want it to break. I moved some of my stuff around, which has kind of changed things up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Berry Burst, because Berry Burst is like the darker cousin of Petunia Pop. Petunia Pop is like very faint, you know, like not faint, but just a lighter of this color. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stamp some llamas all across it. So, oh, there's a cat hair. Oh, I love my cats, but sometimes I'm like, how did a cat hair get there? Anyway, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I want to make, I think I want to do it, I guess I'll do it straight because that is crooked. So let's go ahead and let's stamp straight on Berry Burst Llama. Now we're making our own designer series paper here, essentially. Most of it's going to get covered up by the tag. Again, this is Emperor's New Groove inspired. Nothing I make is, you know, exactly like the, let's see, and I wanted to have this like this. So how am I going to do that? I'm thinking of how to get the pattern right. I should have tried it out on paper. Okay, I might have to block off, but I guess I can do two right here, but then how am I gonna get the upside down one here? Oh, I guess I'll do it like that. Okay. It just had to take me a minute to figure out how I could have made the pattern. So we'll do an upside down llama here. Sometimes it's better to practice on like a white piece of paper, but I didn't do that today. Okay, cool. I don't even know if I need that much ink, but I'm adding that much ink. Okay. And again, it's not perfect, but I'm just making my own, we would say, designer series paper with a stamp. So it doesn't have, like this one's a little more crooked than that one, but again, no one is going to notice. But I took a plain piece of paper and now made it llama paper. I think this is going to be a little bit better than what I had planned originally. So cute, right? I mean, to me, I just think that looks really good. So then this layer is going to be going on this layer. Already, I like this better. I think this is fun. Okay, let me get my glue. And let me just glue this down. Now there's other types of glue, and some of my other video I used like a little strippy type glue. It's just more expensive. So I tend to use this white glue a little bit more because the other one is just more expensive. This white glue, gosh, it'll last me a long time because you're just using so little of it. And it's relatively inexpensive. And this is going to go down on my card base right here. So good. I love this. Because I'm not tying any ribbon or anything to this particular layer, so I can go ahead and put the layers together. Yeah. I had never watched Emperor's New Groove all the way through. For some reason, when it had come out, I just wasn't into it. I couldn't figure, you know, other people loved it. I just couldn't get into it for some reason. I was unemployed at the time, I think. So I think it was just kind of a hard time. Oh, that's right. So for this card, I put away my stamp. I actually wanted to stamp another llama on the inside, but I'm gonna still add this little layer. So I'm gonna stamp a llama right here, just partially in. That's with the berry burst. I don't know, sorry, if I'm trying not to be out of frame. I did a video of pin unboxing yesterday. I was out of frame for like almost the whole thing. It's actually quite hysterical, to be honest. I sent it to my niece and she was cracking up. She was laughing so hard because she doesn't have Instagram. So she doesn't have social media other than maybe watching a YouTube. She won't watch these long ones. Well, I just don't think she has the time to watch these long ones. She's an X-ray technician. She works a lot. And so I don't think she has time to watch something like this. So I kind of like the idea of putting this strip over the top of the stamp. In my original one, I put the stamp and then the strip, and I didn't like it. And I didn't really want it with just the stamp. I felt like it needed something else. And ooh, this is a little, you know, but yeah, so I like that. And I used berry bursts. In the original, I used Petunia Pop, but because we used berry burst on the front, we're going to use it on the inside too. Now let me glue this on the inside. Good layer. Perfect. We'll get this all inside. So the basic of the card. So it's not a really complicated card, but it sure does look complicated. I mean, when you add everything on it, it looks complicated. So I want to point out, look, a cat hair must have floated onto my stamp and I stamped it. I'm not going to restamp that. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. When I used to teach public school, I always had to tell the kids, it's okay to have a small mistake. Sometimes nothing is ever going to be perfect. So you don't have to try and make something perfect when perfection doesn't really exist, you know, like not like that. And so I'm taking this little tag. I should grab that paper to show you. So this paper, because I think if you don't see the paper, you might not be able to understand. You just might not be aware, not understand it. You just might not be aware of what I'm trying to talk about. So let me see if I can grab the full sheet. Here it is. Here's the full sheet. So I cut up all the pieces of labels on this sheet and flags, and I cut them all up, and I needed these 4. I loved that it had this shading on here. So these weren't already pre-cut like the bottle, but you know, they're clearly straight lines, so I could easily like just whip up a little, you know, cut straight lines to get everything done. And the back side of that paper, if you didn't watch that other video, was this one here. So here's what the original sheet looked like. It had this whole street, and then it had all this bottom. And I wound up using the bottom part for our project. And then the other part I used for, our pin. So this label is gonna go on top of here. Look at how good that's gonna look. It's gonna look so good. Actually, this is so much better than I expected. I'm like so happy. So that's turning out way better than I expected. Okay, so now I understand that this bottle does not look like the epic, iconic bottle of Yzma, but it's definitely the same color, and that's what made me think of her. And this little piece of paper is a little too big in my opinion. I think it might be a little too big. I cut out a few of these. Let me see. I have this. I need to show you guys my little, this is my business card. It's a business card holder, but I've added some of those labels in here that I cut out, and then also some pieces for some crafts that I'm doing right now. So, all right. So this is a little bigger than I want it to be. So I think I want to trim it down just a tiny bit more because it's a little bit too big for the bottle. So let's go ahead and I just kind of want the lines to be straight. So let me trim a tiny bit off of here. There we go. Tiny bit off of there. And I probably should have just done it with my scissors. And let me trim a tiny bit off of there. Because again, it's not going to be a perfect label. When pieces like this get so small, it's actually like too small to put in the trimmer. You can do it like I just did, but it's easier to just not. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead. And now for the drawing, I have to remember how to draw my, okay, so we do the like hump. And then there's the little top. And then it's like a little, now, if drawing it is too much for you, then, you know, print it out, shrink it down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just more comfortable with drawing it. I'm okay with drawing it. To me, printing it out is harder than drawing it, for me. But again, if for you it's not, okay, so then I just wanted to make sure I had the right shape for the llama. It's not an exact replica, but I'm trying to make it as close as I can. I just had to practice a minute. So let me draw it. Okay. Now the reason why I drew the little hump first, because on the first one that I made, the head almost came off. My neighbors are talking. They're like being really loud as I'm trying to concentrate. I'm also like trying to be a nosy chismosa listening to the neighbor. And I'm sure they're not talking about anything real, but it was just funny. It's just funny that I was thinking that in my brain. So I'm so glad to make this. You know what? This made my day, this craft, to be honest. I'm still furloughed, and you know, I can't control anything beyond the sphere of where I live, you know, which is my home with my animals, you know, with my little cats. And, you know, I just have to focus on what I can control, which is a really hard thing to do, especially if you have a really high anxiety and, you know, other, you know, just things that cause, I mean, everyone has their issues, don't get me wrong, but, you know, some things just, you know, if I start thinking too much about the furlough, I'll, not have a panic attack, but I'll start to panic and start to have just, you know, cry and get frustrated, or, you know what I mean? Like, and it just isn't helpful or productive. And so it's better to try and focus on my energy on something positive like this. Oh, look, here's my practice Cusco on the back, like drawing it in pencil. And so I guess I drew it in pencil on the back here and then forgot about it and then reused it. So we're going to put, and again, I know that the bottle is not as iconic as the movie, but if I sent this to a Disney person, they would get it. You know, like, yes, the bottle's not perfect, but everything is Disney inspired. Oh, I put away a marker. I was like, why did I have this marker out? The bottle cork is the wrong color. Actually, I like using the brush tip. I don't know why. I feel like I have more control when I use the brush tip. That's just my opinion. This is Crumb Cake. That was our basic black marker, and I like using this brush tip. Now, you can use pencils or crayons or whatever. I just am using the Stampin' Up! Markers. I don't know how much longer we're gonna have markers. I think a lot of them are gonna go away. It's part of, like, you know, just, you know, the company has to evolve with the times, you know, so there it is. And, just as I was afraid. Okay, don't fall. Please don't make me put that all away again. Okay, and so markers are pretty much going to go away from Stampin' Up. Okay, and that's you know, a bummer because, you know, we use markers, but you can find really high quality markers for a lot cheaper in other places, so it doesn't make sense for us to still carry them. Although I do like them and they're archival and there's all these positives about them, I also get why the company has to think wisely. Our company doesn't have any debt. They're very, very conscientious about debt. So let me go ahead and put this in the center. And so, like, when they put stuff on clearance, it is like, that's it. You know, they really don't overbuy too much. And when they do, and it goes on clearance, it goes quick. It's not like in other stores where, you know, that this will go on clearance at Target, you know, after a few months. This is the triple punch. We don't have this anymore, but it's just a tag punch, you know, for putting a hole for the ribbon. That's it. Nothing fancy about it. Just a basic tag punch. So what I wanted is, I decided I wanted a little bit of the ribbon. I had this extra scrap, so we're going to put this through the top. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to put the twine through here too. I wanted just like a little bit of twine at the top. I think I needed maybe double. But let's see. I had a little piece here, but it's like you can barely see it. I feel like it should have double in there. So let's see. We want it to be like that long, basically. I'm gonna have to trim. So let me get my ribbon scissor. There we go. And then I'm going to cut another one about the same length. Some of it's going to have to go in the garbage, you know, it's okay. And this was just an extra, I had joined a ribbon share with a friend of mine. And when you do that, you get these pieces of ribbon, or it was like it might have been like a door, like ticket, like part of the cost of the class kind of thing. Oops, I did that backwards. There we go. I want the black on the outside. I want to pull it up. Yeah, this was way too long, but it's okay. Because it's got to come here. Then I'm going to take the twine again. And so anyway, sometimes I get these ribbon shears and have these extra pieces. Cool, yeah. I just wanted a little extra black on that, against that ribbon. So instead of tying this in a knot around the top of the tag, what you do, it's like a little, it's like just an alternative to a bow at the top or a knot. I could have tied these in a knot, but it's not as pretty. So let me tie this in a bow around the top. And I tried doing it with a knot, which you can do too. Let me see what the knot looks like. And so we just want this to slide down. Okay, there we go. We want that up, up. Okay, and then we want this in a bow. I don't think I want it in a knot. I think I tried it in a knot and I didn't like it. I wanted it a little wider. Now, if you don't like to tie bows, you can just tie a straight knot and trim off the edges. It still gives the same effect. No one's gonna care. I just personally like bows and I like tying them, so I really don't have a problem with it. Okay, so now we're gonna trim that off. So there we go, we've got our nice little trim there. Then we've got to trim off, we've got to see how high we have to trim it here. Okay, so we want to make sure it can fit in the in the envelope. So let's do a little like that, and like, dang it. Okay, there we go. On the other one, I had trimmed it too much. And it'll fray. You can also burn the edges so it doesn't fray. I'm not going to do that this time. And then I'm just gonna trim these two pieces together. And then I'm gonna trim these two pieces together. And done. And so we've got our, oh, my trash bag is coming apart. So we've got our tag. See, and now it angles just right. I mean, look at, oh, I have to say, I think the llama is the winner against this. I think the llama is the winner, but I'm also partial because I created it. So I'm gonna always think my idea is best. So, okay, so dimensionals. That's what I need. Where are my dimensionals? They're normally right there. That's weird. I don't see them down. I was cleaning up a little bit earlier. Oh, you know what? I know now. They fell way over on the other side of the desk. I remember as I was cleaning up, they fell. I'll have to move my little side table here to get to it. They fell in the corner. It's like this little tiny corner. It's so I can have my printer right next to my desk. I have this little side table that someone was throwing away at work. And I was like, if that's going in the garbage, I'll take that side table. And that's what I did, and brought it home. And so it's a perfect little side table. It almost looks like homemade, to be honest. So I cleaned it up and put it on the side of my desk, but it creates like a little cubic, like 2 foot by 2 foot little cubic area back there that the cats will hide, especially when it's time to go to the vet, or, you know, I'm like, seriously, come on, guys. There we go. I just wanted to have this. You know me, I always like to have plenty of dimensionals on my stuff. I'm very particular. Now, I'm not putting any particular sentiment on this card. I was going to put like a happy birthday or a thank you or whatever. I'm actually not going to put that on this card because honestly, I think that this, it could be a Halloween card. It could be just a, hey, it could be you're my best friend. I'm sending you this Yzma card, you know, just, or Yzma card just because. And, you know, so anyway, so my dimensionals, I usually keep them in a Tori Amos box that a friend made for me more than 20 years ago. We're not, sadly, we lost touch as friends, but I still have this box he made for me. It's like really, and he like laminated it and everything. It's pretty cool. Like, or he sealed it with Mod Podge, and like it has this collage of Tori Amos all across the top. I just think it's really cool, and I've been using it for my dimensionals for a long, well, yeah, probably. Well, I've been using it for like 15 years since I lived here. I don't think I used it for that before I moved here. And then when I had to take my dimensionals places to craft, I started using that little box, and it's a champ. And, you know, anyway, I'll have to show it to you guys one day. I love Tori Amos. I don't listen to her current music as much as her old stuff, you know. No particular reason, just haven't. Then these gems are this adhesive back sparkle gems from last year, I believe. I'm pretty sure they were from last year. And I'm using the black ones. Oh, I'm gonna need the baby ones here. They come with like big, small. So we've got the big ones and the small ones. And with all Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, if you, oh, come on. Okay, this is not gonna open for me because I need it to. So we're just gonna trim the side here. I like to keep it in the little plastic. Someone actually uses a photo album for their embellishments, and I was thinking I might try that. I haven't done it, but I'm thinking I might try it. So I need a black, a big one, which I'll take from here, and we'll put that right there. And then I need 2 of the baby black ones. And it makes the perfect proportioned Mickey, hidden Mickey ears, whatever you want to call it. Mickey head silhouette. And they're just perfectly proportioned in the corner. And then just, I always, whenever I do a card, I always have, because I have these extra large ones, I always do it in prime numbers, you know, in odd numbers, not prime numbers, and always in odd numbers. So I added a few extras, and then I'm going to slide this back into my little container, and that is our card, you guys. That is our card. It's fabulous, if I say so myself. I say fabulous a lot, but not necessarily when I'm making cards. Isn't that funny? I just call myself fabulous, because why not? So, oh, look, okay, so you guys can tell me which one you like in the comments, 1 or 2, llama or no llama. You know, I think this really like elevates the card, you know, it just really steps it up to another level. And it's still, you know, Emperor's New Groove inspired. And it occurred to me after I'd made this card, I was in bed and I'm like, oh, you have the llama stamp. Why are you not using that? Like it was, you know, why are you not using that to make a pattern? For some reason, I just didn't think, I put it on the inside, but didn't think to use it as a pattern. Anyway, so that's what I did. All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate any likes, follows, comments, whatever, you know. I just like showing you guys how to make stuff.